Now, you may remember that earlier on last year we did the Captain Carter shield from the Marvel What If series. Well, I'm so taken with Captain Carter that I decided I wanted to make a model of her. There's not many on the old Tinterweb of Captain Carter. There's plenty of Peggy Carter, but this is the one that I did find, and I'm going to show you where I got it from and how I made it. Stay tuned.
So we got the Captain Carter model from Cults, and the cost of this was £14.34. I think you'll agree though it's a really nice model, and this is the one we're going to make. It comes in 3 parts. It comes in the main body, the crates, and also the base. Now I scaled this up on my Elegoo Mars 2 Mono to 515%, which was the biggest size I could get this on the printer. Now all the paints that I've used today are found on the Sci-Fi paint starter set. It's from the Grinning Gargoyle. I definitely recommend you get this paint set. So before we've even got to this stage, we've given it a normal undercoat, and I've given it a complete layer of blue using some ultramarine blue from the Army Painter. Lots of the model is blue, and so it's easy to give that an undercoat of the colour that we're going to sort of be using the most. Now I've used some Army Painter Terran colour, and I've given her face a quick dry brush across, and then I've used a little bit of Martian Brown to just give her hair a little bit of a colour. Now a small brush, take your time and try to get the details right. There's no point in rushing this because this is going to be the end result that you look at for a long time. And just get that paint all over. Use some magnification glasses if you're lucky enough to have some. If you haven't got any, then get some, because it's really good to have those to do the finer details, especially on the smaller models like this. And once you've allowed the first layer of skin colour to dry, just give it another base layer. You just really want to be getting rid of any of the undercoat or any of the blue that you see underneath. And if you see any globs on there, just take your dry brush and even it out really. We want to try and keep her skin as flat as possible and avoid the ridges and bumps that you get with a brush. But you know, again, it's all about taking your time and using the detail. Now I'm no expert in faces, far from it. There's many videos on YouTube that talk you through it. I would consider myself a basic painter when it comes to faces, but I like this flesh wash. And what I do with this is I just highlight the darker areas that you would naturally get, which would be the eyes, the folds between the nose and the lips, the nasolabial folds, and I just give it some of the darker colour, and I highlight it again out with the dry brush, just to give the face a little bit of texture, and just touch up as you go along, just fill in any of the gaps that you see. Now the face obviously isn't one colour, so what I like to do is get some red, mix it in with the Terran colour, and just highlight some of the places that you would naturally see red. Now obviously Hayley Atwell, Captain Carter here, would have a little bit of blusher on, so I want her cheeks to be a little bit red and a little bit rouge, but just add some texture to it. And it's very hard again with a model this size to be absolutely accurate, but do the best you can. Right, for the whites of the eyes, I've just used some ivory bone mixed with some white and the finest brush that I could find, and delicately just pop it on there. Now if you go over, doesn't worry, you can use that brush with a little bit of Terran to just line it up, but take your time and just get the whites of those eyes as accurate as you can. Don't be afraid of this part. Eyes are without doubt the hardest part to get right, and I'm still learning on eyes. You make it up as you go along sometimes, but whatever you do, if you get it wrong, it doesn't matter. You can put it right by just going over the top again. I've used just some dark brown because Captain Carter's eyes are brown. Normally I would use a black base lining and then I would put the colour on, but because this is such a small model, I'm just going to go straight in with the brown onto the whites of the eyes. Just a circle as much as I can. Try to make sure you don't make her look Google-eyed, so take your time with this one and try to do as equally as you can. And just have a look at it when you've done it, just to make sure you're happy with the end result. Sometimes it's easier to have them looking off centre a little bit, but I quite like this one to be looking forward. I think I'm quite happy with how that's turned out, but I'm just going to fiddle with it. Now the risk here is always doing too much. Now I've put a little bit of red on a very fine brush, and I've just done a very shaded red area underneath the eyes. If you look at an eye up close, you can see that where the lower eyelid is tends to be thinner skin than normal there, so it looks a little bit red, and again it adds to the contrast of it. The top of the eye, because of natural shadowing, will be darker, and the lower of the eye will be lighter, but a little bit of red will just do the trick there. Pupil wise, just get that fine brush again, a tiniest drop of black paint, and just tap it on there. But you know what, they're so hard to do eyes. If you make a mistake, start again. Practice makes perfect, especially on a model of this size. And there we go. So that's all done now. I'm not going to touch the face. You can play with the face forever. Find it to a point where you're happy, and then I think I've learned then is to just leave well alone. Now I'll put some varnish on the eyes when everything is dry, just to give the eyes a little bit of pop, but I'm done on the face. We come to the bit now that I was least looking forward to, doing the Union Jack on her uniform. Reason for that is it's going to be one fiddly little number to do this, and secondly I need to make sure I get the Union Jack right, as being British myself. If I get that wrong, that's going to look bad. So get some nice red, some bright popping red, and pop that on for the first layer, and take your time, small brush. It's going to be fiddly. There was an awful lot of swapping between colours here, and cleaning brushes, and trying to make sure I got the lines as clean as I could. So, you know, it's not going to go on first time without you having to fiddle and tweak it, so don't expect miracles. Same again with the shield. Ignore the little bit of a mistake that I made there to colour in the wrong one. That never happened. Wipe that from your mind straight away. And just again, I've used a reference picture that you can see on the laptop at the back, and I've tried to get the Union Jack again correct as best as I can on this model, for the reasons I stated before. Take your time, same kind of principles, a little bit easier on the shield than it was on her chest, and I've just used the red that I've got out now to highlight some of the other areas on a uniform which I spotted from the reference shots that I'd got. The white going on was interesting. It was really difficult. I found this probably the hardest bit of the whole paint job, trying to get it right, trying to make sure that I get the thicker lines where they should be and the thinner lines where they should be, and not going over the red, not going over the blue. It went on and on, backwards and forwards between the colours, and it's as good as I can do it. Now if you're a really good painter with a really steady hand and not a bit wobbly like me, then I'm sure you'll do a better job. But just do the best you can, and that's all you can do. Reference pictures to get the bits that you need them, and just have a crack at it. Okay, moving on to some leather brown, just to do the boots. Now I've used quite a thick brush here, and I'm just literally lathering it onto the boots. I'm going to give it a couple of layers on the boots, but that won't be the end of them, because I'm going to put some dark wash across them to give them a bit of texture. Same colour for her gloved hands, and this is also going to be the colour that I'm going to use for all the webbing and her belt, her utility belt. Fiddly job, the strapping. Take your time, small brush, and just do it carefully. Remember to do the edges of the strapping as well as the main front bit. And again, when you finish, what we can do, and you'll see me doing it later, is just putting a little bit of dark wash on it to give it a little bit of texture, a little bit of effect. But again, if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Just change the colour, paint over it, let it dry, start again. Carefully. That's all you need to do. And if you make mistakes, what the hell, do it again. Okay, now you see me pop some silver on the plate. Back of Captain Carter's shield obviously has got to be vibranium, as has the outer edge. So just use a very flat brush and squeeze it into the gaps and make sure that you've got it all covered. Now what I've done now is used a dry brush technique to just give the outer edge of the shield a little bit of vibranium look, and just silvered it up a little bit just to give it a little bit of ping, a little bit of pop. and I've done the same for the shoulder plates that she's wearing, just again to give her a little bit of wear and tear. I don't want to looking too pristine. Okay, silver's still out, so I'm going to use a fine brush now to do some of the clasps. The big one at the back where all the straps join is the first one, and take your time with this. Try to get this as accurate as you can, because this is going to look really nice when you finished it, doing her belt as well, which is also silver. And I did the little edges of her clasps too. Now, just to make her eyes pop a little bit, I've used a bit of varnish, and take some of this onto a brush. Don't brush it on, literally just drop it into the eyes. A couple of drops and leave it. Don't get rubbing it, and make sure your eyes are nice and dry before you do this. And I've done the same again onto the shield. Now we move on to the base, and all I've done is given the crates a dark coat of black, as you can see there, and I've given the base a coat of grey, just to give it an undercoat really, that's all. Next step is to use the Army Painter Battlefields basing kit, and I'm just putting some of the glue that comes with it on the base there. And what I am going to do is put some grass effect and put some little shrub effects on it and some stones. It's great for this, the grass that comes with it. You literally just sprinkle it over the glue liberally, give it a little tap when you're finished, and it's done. It's as simple as that really. With the crates on now, I'm using some of the little self-adhesive grass tabs to just stick some little bushes on, and I've done a few of them there, as you can see, not too many, we don't want to overdo it. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of glue on the end of a toothpick in a couple of places, and place on a couple of the imitation rocks that also come with the basing kit, and voila, that's the base done. As you can see on the crates, I've just highlighted the design on it a red colour, just to let it pop out a little bit. And as I say, that's the base done, so I think it's time we had a look at the final reveal. Hope you enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe.